helped me reach 1,500 subscribers. I found out on an ordinary Tuesday, the kind of day that never warns you it's about to split your life in half. My husband was in the shower, my phone was dead, and his phone lit up on the kitchen counter like it had something to confess. I wasn't snooping. I wasn't suspicious. I was just trying to check the time. The message preview was short, casual, and devastating in its simplicity. Last night was a mistake, but I'd do it again. It wasn't from a coworker. It wasn't from a stranger. It was from my best friend, the woman who stood next to me at our wedding, the woman who held my hand when my mother was sick, the woman who knew every crack in my marriage and every fear in my heart. In that moment, the house felt too quiet, like it was holding its breath, waiting to see what I would do next. At first, my brain refused to cooperate. I read the message again and again, convinced I had misunderstood it. People don't do that. Best friends don't cross that line. Husbands don't betray you with someone who knows your entire story. There are rules you assume the world follows, invisible but firm, and one of them is that some people are off limits forever. I told myself there had to be an explanation, a joke, a typo, anything that didn't involve the two people I trusted most deciding I was expendable. My hands started shaking, not from anger, but from the sudden collapse of reality. The life I thought I was living began to feel like a set someone had quietly dismantled behind my back. When he came out of the shower, wrapped in a towel, humming like nothing in the world was wrong, I realized something important. I wasn't ready to confront him. Not yet. I needed to see how deep this went. I needed to know if this was a single moment of weakness or a pattern of choices made deliberately, repeatedly, without me. So I did something I never thought I'd do. I unlocked his phone. I expected resistance from my conscience, but there was none. Betrayal has a way of silencing your inner voice. The messages went back months. Inside jokes, late-night calls, complaints about me, disguised as concern. She's been distant lately. I don't think she appreciates you. Reading them felt like watching strangers dissect my life while wearing familiar faces. The worst part wasn't the physical betrayal. It was the intimacy. They talked about me like I was an obstacle, not a person. A problem to manage, not a wife or friend. My best friend knew exactly what to say to him because she knew exactly what hurt me. She knew my insecurities, my doubts, the moments I cried on her couch wondering if I was enough. And she used that knowledge, not to protect me, but to insert herself where I belonged. That realization settled into my chest heavier than rage. It was grief. Grief for the versions of them I thought existed. Grief for the trust one gave so freely, assuming it was safe. I didn't scream. I didn't throw the phone. I sat there, eerily calm, scrolling through proof that my intuition had been whispering to me for weeks. The late nights, the sudden defensiveness, the way my best friend had become strangely distant, then overly attentive. I had felt something was off, but I dismissed it because trusting them felt easier than questioning everything. That's how betrayal works. It thrives on your willingness to doubt yourself instead of the people you love. In that moment, I understood that my silence was not weakness. It was preparation. I needed clarity, not chaos. Later that evening, we all ended up in the same room. It wasn't planned. She came over like she always did, smiling, asking about my day, hugging me just a second too long. I watched them interact, noticing details I'd never seen before. A look held a beat too long. A joke that landed a little too comfortably. They were careful, but comfort leaves fingerprints. I realized in how long they must have been lying to my face. How many moments I had shared with them while they shared secrets behind my back. The betrayal wasn't a single act. It was a series of decisions, each one easier than the last, each one made with the confidence that I would never find out. What surprised me most was my own reaction. I didn't feel small. I didn't feel desperate. I felt distant, like I had stepped outside myself and was watching a story unfold that no longer belonged to me. Something in me hardened, not in bitterness, but in resolve. I understood that confronting them in that moment would give them control of the narrative. Tears would make me predictable. Anger would make me dismissible. Silence, however, would make them uncomfortable. And discomfort reveals truth faster than accusations ever could. That night, after she left and he fell asleep beside me, I stared at the ceiling and let the reality sink in fully. My marriage, as I knew it, was over. My friendship was already gone. There was no version of this where things went back to normal. And strangely, that knowledge brought clarity. I stopped wondering what I could have done differently. I stopped replaying conversations, searching for mistakes. Their betrayal was not a reflection of my worth, but of their character. People don't betray you because you're lacking. They betray you because they are. By morning, I had made a decision, not about forgiveness or revenge, but about myself. I would not beg for honesty from people committed to deception. I would not compete with someone who was willing to destroy me quietly. I would gather my strength, my evidence, and my dignity, and I would choose myself in ways I never had before. Betrayal has a way of stripping you down to the essentials. And when everything else falls away, you discover something unsettling and powerful. You realize that losing people who were never truly loyal is not the loss you thought it was. It's the beginning of seeing clearly.